everybody, and thank you for joining me today. So more work on hills and sky. We'll get past this point eventually, but for now, yeah, that's where we still are. Looks like a bit of a mix of color changes and bigger blocks today. Oh, I'm starting off with tangling my thread. That's no good. Goodness. Okay, there we go. Yeah, a little bit smokier out there today. It was nice for a couple of days. And yeah, it was really nice for yesterday. We had our local car club had their car show, so my husband took his vehicle in. Well, he took the work vehicle, which is the GTO. Yeah, and then his own, which is a 88 Honda Prelude that he and his dad restored and customized, I think when he was just out of high school. So yeah, it's pretty cool. It's lowered and yeah, looks pretty sleek. It's a fun vehicle. Yeah, unfortunately we discovered though, because it's lowered, all three of us can't sit in it at once as he's backing out of the driveway because he accidentally scraped the ground. Yeah, so when he came back home, yeah, my son and I jumped out so he could get into the driveway without dragging its behind on the ground, because yeah, you don't want that. Ooh. Yeah, it's fun though, because I mean, it corners nice. Yeah, you don't see many of those around anymore. They're getting rarer. Yeah, I said, you know, give it another 10 years, maybe I'll be able to enter my my Honda Element. Yeah, because they only made, I think, 300,000 of those. They kind of got a cult following, so yeah. When I got rear-ended that time, and they had to replace the back end, they actually had to custom make me a new one because they couldn't find any at a wrecker to yeah, to just take it from there and use it. So, but yeah, so I'm really glad that they decided it was worth fixing, because I would have been really sad if that would have been the end of that car. Yeah, I love that car. Yeah, I drove a CRV before that. That's what I learned to drive on. But we lived way out of town for a while, so we put a lot of mileage on it. Yeah. My husband's work commute was 45 minutes in good weather each way. So yeah, you do that over the course of a couple of years, it adds up. Yeah, but now my Element, we live in town now, and I just use it for, you know, getting groceries, running errands, that kind of thing. So yeah, there's a lot less mileage on it. So ooh. Oh, pardon me. Oh, now that I've taken up my exercising again, I've been sleeping a bit better, but I guess I still need to catch up. Got a bit of a sleep debt there. Let's turn on my lamp. It's not quite as bright in here as I like. I don't want to strain my eyes. Okay, so the colors of the hill here are kind of curving this way. I may follow it, I may not. I'll sort of decide as I go. Because yeah, I kind of did that with the top of the peacock's wing. It was curved that way, and I just followed that curve. So it did kind of close in from both sides, but yeah, I didn't worry too much about that. So I may do the same here with this hill. I'm sort of seeing as I go. Yeah, I often do that because I end up with a lot more live needles when I don't sort of follow the curve of the picture, and so yeah. But if it's a lot of big blocks here and I don't end up with a lot of needles, then I may stick to my normal diagonal direction. So we'll just see. I don't plan that far ahead. Yeah, so my husband's decided to wait until next spring or so to try and sell our son's truck to get him a gas vehicle. So we'll see. It's a right-hand drive, so it's kind of harder to sell. For some people, that's a selling point. For a lot of people, it's not. So, yeah. Yeah, because it's came from Japan. It has a little curb mirror on it, too. Because I guess streets are a lot narrower there than they are here. So, yeah. It was funny when we got it then. Our son, when he would build his little Lego vehicles, he started adding little curb mirrors to it. Yeah, it's pretty cute. I actually liked it because since it's a right-hand drive with that mirror there, you can use it to sort of check that you're in the right place in the lane. You're the right distance from the lines. So, yeah. I drove it a few times when my car was in the shop or whatever, for some reason wasn't available. Yeah, I remember once we were driving around in it and I was sitting in the front knitting. We got a lot of double takes because, like I said, it's a right-hand drive, so it looks like I'm in the driver's seat and it's like, what the heck is she doing? You know, she's knitting while she's driving, and then, oh, wait, that's not her driving. Yeah, or when we got it, our son was like 8. So, yeah, again, a lot of double takes of, is that kid driving? Oh, no, wait, it's not. Yeah, although now we've had a couple of friends who said they, when they saw our son driving around, they mistook him for his dad because, yeah, they're getting close in height now and they have the same haircut. So, and he's like a little clone of his dad. Yeah. I said his personality is a lot more like mine than his dad's, but yeah, physically he's like his dad's clone. So, yeah, I had friends, we all said that, it's so unfair. We go through the whole thing of, pregnancy and childbirth and growing the child, all for someone to be like, oh, he looks like his dad. It's like, yeah, thanks. Yeah, there's a little bit of a knot on this thread, but it's minor, so I'm going to ignore it. Oh, I don't know, actually. That might be worse than I thought. Okay. Okay, I think I'm going to do... Yeah, I think I may actually tie this one off. It's worse than I thought it was, and I don't want to distort my fabric. Oh, speaking of which, look at it right there. It's getting caught. Ugh. Okay, I think that is going to be it. Yeah, because it's going to disturb the other threads that are there and mess it all up. So I don't want to do that. So I was hoping to squeak a few more stitches out of it, but that is just not going to happen. So okay. That is irritating. Okay. So it's super short. I'll see if I can secure it without having to rip back anything. I think I can manage. Yeah, just enough. Excellent. Okay, so check this other one that's parked here. Okay. Oh, am I in the wrong place? Oh, look at that. I might be. Oh no, I was looking in the wrong place, but actually I did stitch it in the correct place. Okay, that had me nervous there for a second. Yeah, I've done that before and I'm not eager to do it again. Okay, let's see. And this is why I grid, because yeah, all these squares, such a big area, it can look very similar. And so I have to make sure I'm paying attention. So I like having those cross checks. Yeah, I saw someone in the Heaven and Earth Designs group who was doing extreme cross country without a grid. It's like, wow, you are so much braver than I am. So that gives me anxiety. Although I like to see how they do it, but yeah, that's definitely not for me. I'd be way too anxious that I would mess something up. Yeah, so I'm kind of working more of a wider swath because of these blocks of color are going across several squares at once. So rather than splitting it up, I'm just kind of following it. At least for a bit. You know, like I often say, I stitch diagonal-ish. I follow the color and meander around when I feel it makes sense to do that. Okay, I've got two of this color, so it's a longer one. I think this is a shorter one if I'm, yeah, that's what I thought. If I was remembering correctly, right, that was the one that I like just added, duh. Yeah, my working memory is not the greatest, that's for sure. Yeah, I always say I have to have sort of rituals or checklists to do things in a certain order or I'll forget a step. Oh, like I did that one time. Got home and I unloaded the groceries before I plugged in my block heater, which meant I forgot to plug it in and it was so cold that, yeah, it killed the battery. So, yeah, that is why I always have to do things in a specific order. Like, you know, get home, put it in park, you know, set up the heat for when it needs to defrost the next time I start up the car, make sure the lights are off, then turn the car off, then get out, then plug the block heater in, all before I start to unload the car. Because yeah, if I don't do those things first, I'm going to forget to do them later. Yeah, fortunately, when I killed my car battery that time, I discovered it before I was critical to go somewhere, so I was able to get the charger and charge it back up. But yeah, I was very ticked off with myself. Yeah, although I had a problem with my CRV one year, the battery kept dying no matter what I did. You know, I made sure there was no lights on and all this stuff. And yeah, after we replaced the battery a couple times, I thought maybe it's not the battery that's the problem. You know, maybe it's something else. And it turned out, yeah, the alternator was like overcharging it, they said. So yeah, it was, that was messing with its ability to hold the charge properly. So yeah, I probably would have kept that car, but we have family that lives in the next province over and it's a long drive. And yeah, we didn't want to, we wanted to make sure that any vehicle we took was reliable. And it was starting to get not so reliable. It's fine if you're only using it in town, but yeah, you don't want to get stranded out on the highway or something, or we have a lot of places that are dead zones for cell coverage, and yeah, you don't want to end up stranded in one of those. That would really suck. So yeah, out through Kamloops and stuff is not good for cell service. There's big ads. I remember seeing billboards saying that our phones work in Kamloops, because that's a big deal. It's up high in the mountains and the coverage is not great. Oops. I hate when I do that. One more pin stitch to go when I accidentally unthreaded it. That is irritating. So you can see a big section of this color here, which I am going to have to split at some point because I'm only going about this far before I have to move my frame again. So I actually did start at 0 at the beginning of this session, so we'll see how much I get done. Yeah, we're at 19.25%. So I think we're on track to 21. I don't say it's my goal, it's my estimate, because yeah, like I said, this month was not my usual stitching time, having to deal with my apple harvest. Yeah, I had someone say, I hope they didn't taste like smoke. No, they were okay, thankfully. I haven't noticed any difference in the taste of the juice. So yeah, I was surprised that they grew so well, considering that because of the smoke, we didn't have as much good direct sunlight as we usually do. But yeah, it was our biggest harvest ever. That was wild. If it hadn't been for my new smaller tree, then yeah, it wouldn't have been. But yeah, because of that, and the old one is still hanging in there. Yes, in 2020, it produced only 7 liters of juice, and the new tree had not produced anything yet. And then now we're, yeah, almost 100 liters. It's coming out of our ears, as my mom would say. Okay. Pardon me. Okay, so adding another strand. Okay, once again, yeah, double checking I'm in the right spot. There is, this is a long curve here I'm following. Yeah, and there's sort of a collection of threads here and a collection of threads a couple squares down, so I have to be careful I'm not going off the wrong collection of threads there. Okay. Don't need another new strand. Yeah, I had a picture of the apple juice I made, and had someone say, "Is that honey?" It's like, wow, could you imagine having that much honey? Holy cow. Yeah, no. Yeah, you definitely never be able to use it before it crystallized. Yeah, I like honey, but that's irritating. Even the smallest container I buy, we never use it up before it gets solid. You have to start carving it out. Yeah, I had an aunt who actually kept hers in the fridge. I'm like, but then it's solid, always. Like, yeah, because we were staying with my aunts and uncle while my parents went on a vacation for just the two of them, and I asked for some honey for my toast, and I was like, yeah, your aunt keeps it in the fridge. I don't really know why. And I kind of took it, sort of smacked my butter knife against it solid. I'm like, yeah, never mind. I'll just have some jam instead. Yeah, my grandma used to make blackberry syrup because on Vancouver Island, the blackberries grow everywhere. So, yeah, it was so yummy on waffles. Yeah, it's actually an invasive plant. That's why they're everywhere on the island. They just, yeah. And I mean, people don't really want to try to remove them because, you know, blackberries are yummy. So, yeah. Yeah, I like them. That's one thing about here on the prairies. I love blackberries, but to buy even a tiny little like pint container is super expensive. So, yeah, it's a treat that I don't get very often. Because, yeah, we used to go for walks and you would just pick and eat as you walked along. I remember my sister and I even used to dare each other to eat them when they were still green. They're super sour. Yeah. The things you do as kids, right? Sometimes it's a wonder any of us make it to adulthood. Yeah, like my mother-in-law only found out some of the ridiculously dangerous stuff that my husband and his brother did when they were kids. Now that they're adults, they can talk about it, you know. And she said, yeah, you guys didn't give me enough gray hairs. After watching E.T., you know, they tried to ride their bikes off the roof. Oh, dear. Yeah, and that was back when they still said things like, you know, don't try this at home, kids. And I said, I'm surprised they don't do that as much anymore, considering I think they would do it more to cover their behinds in case people sue. Okay. only long enough for one. That's what I thought. Okay. And I got a lot of leftover strands of this color left. Trying to find my shortest piece. Perfect. Oh dear. My gosh, yeah, I haven't taken my walk yet. I'll do that later today, this afternoon. I wanted to make my video for y'all first. Maybe I should have done the walk first. Since, yeah, I don't drink coffee anymore. Yeah, fortunately, I was a little worried when the family came to visit because we had coffee, but it's, you know, old because we don't, neither of us drink it anymore. But yeah, they said it was still good, so. Yeah, my husband used to bug me about how much sugar I'd put in mine. He'd say, it's not supposed to be sweet as candy. I said, well, why not? You know, there's no rule that says you can't. It's my coffee. I'll drink it how I like. But yeah. Man, back when I still drank coffee, having it taste suddenly really gross was like my first sign that I was pregnant. So one time he wanted the coffee extra strong and he didn't tell me. So I took a sip and went, oh no, you know? And then I said, the coffee tastes weird. He said, oh yeah, I didn't do it to the same proportions today. I made it super strong. I said, you can't do that without telling me. It scared the heck out of me. Oh my gosh. Yeah, that and water take on a weird metallic taste. I had to put lemon juice in it or I couldn't drink it, even though it was filtered water, like it wasn't tap water. Because, yeah, like our tap water around here, you can drink it, but I don't like to. It's pretty gross. It's got a lot of, it's very hard. It's got a lot of dissolved minerals in it. Yeah, it's a pain. Yeah, when I wash my cross stitch, I always do a final rinse with distilled water, just in case, because I've seen how the hard water can stain, you know, the drinking glasses and the bathtub and stuff. So, yeah, definitely don't want those stains on finished cross stitch piece. That's a tangle. There we go. So yeah, rather than splitting this across the diagonals where the diagonal lines are, I just sort of stitch past it and go in one continuous line as much as possible. Of course, like I said, I will have to cut it off somewhere because it extends quite a ways over to the right, yeah, and I have to move my frame before I can reach that far, so plus fill in all the stuff that is above it, so I will cut it off somewhere. Just kind of depends where it falls in the pattern and where my frame is. It decides where I decide to make that break. So yeah, I'm going to fill in some more here, and then I'm going to start working my way out again from sort of the next row. So yeah, kind of stitching in rows a bit here, but that's okay, I don't mind. Yeah, this is O2. I don't think I actually have any designs that use O1, but I messed up when I did my first start of this, and yeah, I did all the 1, which was supposed to be white, in O1. So after that, I went through in Pattern Caper and I manually changed all the ones that said 1 to actually say white, so I won't do that again. Yeah, that's what you might call it, Heaven and Earth Designs. That's how they chart it, because it's hard to add the word white, I think, instead of, I don't know, it's something to do with programming, but yeah. And a lot of people don't get how, well, why can't they just change that? But it's not that easy. I remember I worked at a heavy equipment newspaper, and we had to enter in, you know, hundreds of pieces of equipment under different categories, and they had loaders, and they had all sorts of, you know, crawling loaders and all sorts of ones, but the wheel loaders didn't have a its own category, so you had to just put it under loaders and then in the description type that it was a wheel loader. They didn't have a database category for it, because at the time when the guy was building it, they didn't tell him they needed one, and to add another one would have required a whole bunch of more programming, and yeah, they just did not want to have to add that in later, so putting it under loaders just made it easier. So yeah, people think it's just a very simple matter, but yeah, it's not. I mean, just like the whole Y2K thing, right? Yeah, it's funny because I remember we saw the spot on the checks where it had at the time 19 and then the little blank space to write the last 2 numbers. And my sister said, well, what happens when it goes to year 2000? You know, she's like 5, and yeah, even she figured out that could be a problem. It was funny because I had an old computer, I remember. This was, yeah, in like 99, and I decided to see if my computer would handle it, and so I changed the date to year 2000, and it went fine. You know, didn't mess up anything. It said it was 2000, no problem. So I put it back to what the proper date was, and then when it actually rolled over from December 31st, 1999, when I got up the next morning, my computer thought it was 1980, which was just like so weird, because when I tested it, it had figured out that it was the year 2000, but yeah. When it was actually time to roll over to the year 2000, it thought it was 1980, and then I went in and manually changed it. It realized it was year 2000, and then it was fine after that. So yeah, the only Y2K thing we had that was a problem was at the time I used public transit, and you had to go buy your bus passes at, you know, they had a few locations where you could buy them, and because of the Y2K bug, they didn't get printed for some reason, and or the date was wrong, and they had to go in and fix it and reprint them. So yeah, we ended up having to use our December passes for the first week of January until the new ones came out. But that was the only thing I remember dealing with. Yeah, it was funny because we had some friends that she was terrified that, you know, Y2K meant the world was going to come to an end, you know, things were going to blow up or catch fire or whatever. And so they had a New Year's party, and at midnight her husband snuck down to the fuse box and threw the breaker switch. Oh, scared the heck out of her that, oh my God, it's happening. And yeah, and then she goes, wait a minute, looks out the window, sees the neighbors still have power. It's like, you jerk, you know. Oh my gosh. Oh. Yeah. Marriage for when you find that person you want to annoy for the rest of your life. Yeah, mine is I tell my husband terrible puns. He can't even get away from them at work. I'll even text them to him, and then I get lots of, oh, good God, that's terrible. Yeah, my son hates them too, so. Yeah, my dad always told those, so yeah, I didn't turn into my mother, I turned into my father. Oh, dear. Okay. Got a snarl at the end of that, so I'll just cut that knot off. Deal with it. You can tell the sky is getting closer to being done because these colors, I had thousands of stitches in this color when I started, and now I have less than 600 left, so yeah. Like I said, I wonder when I will hit my first 0. We will see. Usually takes at least halfway, but it really depends on the pattern because, yeah, if you have certain colors that are only used in certain parts, and that can affect it. So sometimes you can get a 0 early on. It really depends. Of course, if you're doing a max color as well, I find that, yeah, they'll often have a color that has only 1 or 2 stitches of that color in the whole chart. Yeah, there was someone who said they were doing a max color, and so that's the 240 colors, and they discovered, yeah, like 4 or 5 of the colors were a single stitch on the chart. They're like, yeah, I'm not buying an entire new thing of embroidery floss just to do 1 stitch. So yeah, technically it used 240 colors, but yeah, some of those colors it was very, very little. Yeah, I was saying earlier about Y2K. Yeah, my sister-in-law said she flew December 31st, 1999, and the plane had like 5 people in it because, yeah, too many people were worried that planes were going to fall out of the sky. So, yeah, she said they boarded, and the flight attendant was like, well, I guess you guys can sit anywhere you want. You don't have to stay in your assigned seats because, yeah, the whole plane is practically empty. I guess they'd have a more worry about that now. Every device these days, it seems, is smart. Yeah. We bought some little LED lights to sort of string around our son's bed for him to use for when he's reading. And yeah, they want you to control it with like an app on your phone, and it was a pain. My husband's like, can't you just buy things with a simple on-off switch? Like, oh my gosh. But anyway, he has we have little similar lights downstairs in our rec room, and it has a little remote control you can use to like change the color, turn it on and off, adjust the brightness. And it came with 2 controllers, and apparently the lights we had just bought for our son's bedroom were on the same frequency. So yeah, it worked out well. Instead of using the app, he could use the remote control, because yeah, So it's kind of a pain. And then if your internet goes down, you know, you can't use it. Yeah, I remember that was a problem at my last workplace. Instead of a local area network, everything was online, and then we had power, or no, not power outage. The power was still on, but the internet went out. That meant I couldn't print anything. I couldn't, yeah, like couldn't scan anything. It was, couldn't really do anything. It was really pain. You know, because I said, yeah, like I said, at least with the LAN, you can still print stuff as long as you have power. Yeah, it can go. But when everything's expected to be wireless, the problem is when your Wi-Fi goes out, yeah, now you can't use it at all. Yeah. Well, that's when, you know, companies can decide to lock you out of features of things till you pay more. And so, yeah, I don't like that. I said, I like when I own something, I want to actually own the thing. Oh, yeah, everything they want subscription and stuff. iTunes keeps bugging me to do the streaming, and I don't like to do that. I prefer to buy my music and then, yeah. Like I said to people, so why do you want to pay for music forever? And they're like, well, because they like a huge variety. I'm like, maybe that's me. I'm more of a listen to the same songs over and over kind of person. So it doesn't make sense to me to keep paying for it when I can just pay for it once and then listen to it, you know, 2,000 times. Okay, I'm going to do some more of this color here. Kind of break it up so it's not all at once. Sort of do a big long row of this, then do some other colors, then another big long row. Yeah, that's how I like to do it. If you've joined me before, of course, probably already familiar with that. Make sure those two strands are even, yeah, so we're not being left with one kind of loose and strange looking. What's going on here? Is that an end? Ah, yes, okay. Thought maybe it was a loose loop, but no, it's a little end popping up from the wrong side. Okay, so park that there and change colors again just to give my arms a little break. Darn it. There we go. Counted as a long press when I wasn't trying to do that. Missed one there. Yeah. Missed highlighting one anyway. Okay, then I'll go back to this color. Yeah, still a lot of this color. Over 2,600. This color's still to do. Yeah, so talking about following the curve of the motifs, when I get to the wall again, I will probably follow the curve there around the edge of the sky and the wall, just like I did in the last pass. It's just easier than fighting it. Well, in the end, it all ends up squared off anyway, these full coverage pieces, so yeah, how you fill it in is different. Yeah, there was somebody in one of the groups I was in who said, yeah, they keep their interest in while stitching the big sections of color by not going back and forth like this, but making different shapes, stars, diamonds, squares. Yeah, so I wouldn't, because I would worry about potential tension lines or the stitches looking messy, but I mean, to each their own. Plus, yeah, if there's a knot that you find later, trying to undo that when you've gone all in different shapes, then straight across could be a bit of a pain to undo. do another row, but I'm going to take a break again for my sake of my arms. Yeah, so about here is where I'm going to cut it off. I might do a little bit more sort of up to this grid line or close to it. And then that's where I'll end it, fill in all of this, and then I'll be time to move my frame again. Oh, whoops. Right. I like to start from the front. I haven't done that in a while. It took a while to break the habit of coming up from the bottom. Because this way, starting from the front, I don't have to turn my work around. Yeah, it's funny. I made sure to buy a stand that the top can swivel all the way around, and now I don't turn my work anymore, so I don't really need it. But it is kind of nice. I can keep it tilted at a angle that's more comfortable for me too. So there's that. That way I don't have to put my left arm into a weird position. I can kind of bring the frame towards it instead of myself towards the frame. Okay. Oh, that looks funny. Oh yeah, the way that came up on the wrong side of the thread that's already sitting there, so pulled it in a strange way. They ended up wrapped around each other, and I don't like that. I want them to sit next to each other nice and neat. There we go. That's better. Probably no one would have noticed but me, but yeah, I like to try and keep things looking nice and uniform when I can. So I did all that because I wanted to be able to bring this thread upwards afterwards. Up along this edge. So these closed in these stitches a little bit, but oh well. Yeah, that was a whole whack at once. It's just easier to pull this out using a spare needle than my nails. Make sure I'm grabbing the correct thread here. There we go. Oops, sorry. Smacking in the camera there. It ended up a little closer to my hands than I normally have it. So you gotta be careful not to bonk into it there. Yes, some confetti here to keep things interesting. Actually, never mind. I'm going to switch to this color first. Yeah. Okay. Ah, there it is. It's thinking I was sure I'd taken this. Oh, but actually I still need to grab my envelope because I've only got little pieces left there. 6, 4, 8. Yes, I think I'll fill in sort of up to this cutoff point, and that'll probably be a good place to take a break. Oh, I hate when that happens. Only one strand actually went through the eye of the needle there. There we go. That is better. Yeah, so by the time we get to next section, or next Stitch With Me session, I will probably have moved the frame again, and we might even be working into the wall, or at least approaching it. Yeah. So. I don't know why with this color these two strands don't seem to want to stay together. They keep... Oh, geez. I'm so sorry, you guys. Ah. Make you dizzy there, huh? Oh, goodness. Yeah. I'll have to make sure next time I set up my camera a little further away so I have a little bit more of a wiggle room there. I was okay when I was further down my piece, but now I'm getting really close to the camera, so that is why that happened. Oh, okay. So yeah, kind of just past this grid line here. That kind of works. Oh, no, that's not the right place, is it? Yep. It's one more away from the grid line than I should have been. Okay, so I'm just gonna get, yeah, all these kind of parked out of this area and unthreaded, and then I think that's where I'm going to call it a day. This one's not, yeah, very long. That is what I thought. Thought that that would use up this piece of thread entirely, but I think I can actually get a little bit more from it, so I will park it rather than tie it off. Oh, bee or something just flew into my window. Hopefully he didn't stun himself too badly. Oh gosh, it was so funny. Remember, we were on lockdown or something, and my kid, I feel something touch my shoulder, and my kid says, "Oh my gosh, Mom, there's a bee on you." So I reached at my shoulder, and there's a little piece of paper where he wrote a capital letter B and stuck it on me. So yeah, definitely my kid. Yeah, fortunately, I don't have a fear of bees, so. Okay, felt like it wanted to snarl, but then it didn't. Okay. Yeah, so kind of making a straighter line here, that's just sort of how it worked out. Sometimes that happens. I don't stress about it too much. Yeah, these two stitches here, that'll be it for this strand. I think that is where I'm going to take a break. I had a nice productive session today. I hope you enjoyed hanging out with me and hope to see you here again another time. All right, thanks everyone. Bye.